2025 is in the books, and I'm pulling back the curtain on every income position in my portfolio. How much cash did I actually collect? Which holdings crushed it? And which ones surprised me? If you want to know exactly how my income strategy performed this year, stick around because this update is packed with the real numbers, lessons learned, and what I'm planning next. Plus, I'll reveal a few unexpected winners that outperformed even my highest hopes, and one position that nearly made me rethink my entire strategy. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Simply Money. So today we're going to be overviewing my 2025 portfolio. We're going to give some updates on all the positions. There have been a few changes. Those who have followed the channel know that back in around July, I started moving some into the income performance and income-driven type ETFs. Been updating and changing some things and keeping you guys posted along the way. We're going to recap our entire 2025 portfolio, the performance, what income came through, which positions performed good, and which ones may be out the door. So let's start with one of my favorites. Those that know the channel well know that SCHD is one of my longest standing holdings and one of my favorite holdings. And we're not going to go into all the details on every one of the funds. We'll give quick overviews of some of them and just kind of give the background of what's happened, what's continuing to happen, and where I see it going in the future. We'll just come over here and we'll look real quick at the performance. You can see that for this year, looking at the distributions, the dividends, it has paid a nice distribution of $1.04, almost $1.05 per share, and that is up 5.27% from last year's dividend, which was up 12% from the year prior. So the dividend growth on SCHD continues to perform well. It's a great fund to have for those that want income growth and having that income continue just to accumulate and build up not only your share quantities, but your dividend per share going up as well. We can see if we come back at the beginning of when I started this in 2017, that it was paying about 10, 11 cents per share. And now in 2025, we had a 24, almost 25 cent distribution, a 26 cent distribution, another 26, and then a 27.8 cent distribution on here. Because of my share accumulation on these have been going up, I did have some sells that I was doing as part of my transitioning to the higher income. I did sell a few of those shares and reduce my position because it was getting very heavy and I wanted to reduce the percentage that was in SCHD, but I still hold 11,784 shares. So we have this share quantity growing because we have just been dripping this and continue to drip this. But you can see these dividend payments, they are down slightly from last year because of the selling of those. But these distributions this year are 4,200, 4,500, and then 3,000 and 3,200 on these quarterly paying. But you'll see where even though I dropped slightly on these quarterly payments in September and December, because I sold out of some of the position, you'll see where I increased much more with some of the new funds that I'm holding and transferring that over there. So that's SCHD. We'll get into the breakdown each week and the overview of the dividend payments. Let's look at WPAY real quick. This one's been a little bit disappointing. We're going to continue to watch this. It's a typical NAV decrease. I was doing some dollar cost averaging with this one throughout the year. I say through the year starting in September, buying in some positions as I saw some dips, but it has dipped pretty heavy over the last couple months. November and December have been pretty hard on this fund. As you can see, we dropped from the end of October, we're at 53.86, and now at the end of December, we're at 41.86. So a big drop. From when we started buying this, the share price is down 22%. With full dividend reinvesting, we're down about 9% on this one. Dollar-wise, it's about $1,200 that we're down. So it's nothing like we're getting destroyed in this. It's just not performing like we're hoping. These distributions are getting smaller. That share price is getting lower. So we're hoping to see a little bit of rebound here. We will continue to watch this and monitor that one. Now, one of my performers that I've liked, and I continue to like CHPY, and I'm still very bullish on CHPY. I know a lot of people say, well, it's been a good market for AI and tech, and so CHPY's been doing well, but it's going to get nailed. And maybe so, but I've been pleased with it thus far since, again, September. Now, we've seen a growth of about 12%. Our value's gained about $4,700 in this time. I just made another purchase, and this is for something different, but I'm counting it because it is in this CHPY. It's in a different account that I'm doing something with this, but I did add it, so it's another 42 shares that were added there. The share price has actually increased by 2%, so that's nice. It's nice to see with some of these funds that are paying these high distributions where you have so much NAV decay in like WPAY, and you'll see in ULTY that you have that NAV decay. It's nice to see that the share price is holding, and the distributions have been very consistent. They fluctuate slightly, but nothing like some of these others have been doing. It dropped a little bit, but it picked up again. And we'll just continue to monitor that. It's been a good performing fund thus far. IWMI, this is a monthly paying fund, small caps. It's just a little diversification for me, a small, very small position here of just under $7,000. But it's done well. Its total return's been about 4.5%. The share price has gained about 3%. Again, this is only in a few months. So all of these, when you're looking at this short term, good or bad, it's short term, and that can change, obviously, over a longer period of time. So we'll continue to monitor these to see how they do in various markets, and we're continuing to drip, so we're just accumulating shares on these. But it's been paying the 3 months that I've had it here, 59, 58, and 60-cent distributions. So far, it's been consistent. Now, YBTC, anybody knowing that Bitcoin, crypto has been hit really hard over the last few months. You can see the share price has dropped from $45 where we got it in September. It's down to $30. It's a 32.65% drop in the share price. That's caused our total value to drop by almost $3,000, total return of negative 22%. But crypto is hyper volatile. And so we're going to just hold this one. We're going to watch this and continue to monitor it. Again, it's a fairly small position that we're holding here, so it's nothing that we're super worried about. We'll continue to see if crypto has another one of those slingshot rebounds like it's done many, many times in the past. We will watch that, but it is right now obviously not performing great. They did have a nice high payout at the end of the year. The last dividend last week, as of this recording, at the end of the year was 85, almost 86 cents. You can see that payment of $286. So we got 9 more shares from that. We'll continue to see if we get some rebound. So along with that, we have BLOX. Same thing with the crypto. We've seen we're down about $1,600, about negative 23 on total return, about negative 29 on the share depreciation because the price has gone from $26 and we're sitting at $18.70. So crypto has been very tough on the portfolio between YBTC and BLOX. We're looking at about $5,000 that were down there. Now we're going to some of the ones that I'm very pleased with. QQQI, I'll be expanding my position in this one. Coming into 2026, continuing to add into this. You can see over the course of from July till now, the share price has gone up about 4%. The total values increased about $5,600, and we're getting nice steady distributions from there. It's been very consistent every month, 63 or 64 cents, and so it's nice to see with a little bit of share appreciation, gathering more shares each month as we get that monthly payment, and we're increasing our share value. So QQQI is performing well. I like it. I'm going to continue to buy into that, especially if I see some dips with tech pulling back in the beginning of the year. I'll be watching that and hopefully expanding that position. And likewise, my SPYI, which tracks the S&P 500, sells those covered calls. As you can see, there's quite a bit of buys here. I've just been doing some dollar cost averaging in there. and getting it here and there as with different funds that come loose or different distributions, putting them over to that. But in this time frame, again, since July, you're seeing about a $4,500 value increase. Share prices gained almost 4%. So again, we have a nice steady distribution of these dividends of 51, 52, 53, very consistent on there. So SPYI and QQQI will be two positions that I'll be expanding. For those wondering, I will be probably looking into a little bit more. I'm a little bit hesitant, but I'm thinking about switching out of ULTY, the big experiment, and moving that into GOF. If you're not familiar with GOF, I'll have a video coming out on that. Check it out on the channel. I'll be deep diving that. I'm still doing a little more research. I may do part of my ULTY fund into that, and I may put part of it into another couple funds that I'm looking at. But ULTY, and that's where we're at now. The experiment that we've been doing has shown ULTY keeps changing things. They changed from the monthly to the weekly payments back in March. Just recently, they changed some of the underlying funds, and they keep trying to adjust because they just keep getting hammered. As you can see, since July, the share price is down almost 40%. That's a continued NAV decay, even though they've done the split. They did the reverse split. They did some adjustments to try to mitigate some of the NAV erosion, and it keeps dropping. We're seeing it dropping again. Even now, as of the making of this video, it's down from this last distribution you're seeing here. The share price at 38, I think it's, as of this recording, is down to $35 a share. So it just keeps dropping. With overall, because we have been reinvesting, so even though the share price is down 40%, we're down 12%, which is nothing to be happy about. A little different than the YBTC and BLOX, because I know crypto's being hit hard. ULTY just doesn't seem to be able to find their groove. I'll continue to watch it. I'm not pulling the plug on this experiment yet, but as you can see, we're down about $2,400 on that one. So let's look at the overall portfolio as of right now. This is the income portion of the portfolio. This is what you see, each of the symbols here to the left, and then the number of shares for each of those. The current price as of the recording, what the annual dividend would be based on the trailing 12 months. With some of them, I take the latest and I calculate based on the percentage, the yield, and move that forward. So some of these, obviously, they're going to change. Some of the funds like SCHD has been growing year over year. I'm using the trailing 12 months. ULTY, the distribution keeps going down. I'm trying to use an average with a decrease of what that payment would be. So you can see it's difficult sometimes to forecast what the annual dividend will be because these aren't steady. These are changing. But this gives us an idea based on what we're seeing and what we have from this past year. And we'll look at each distribution, what we actually got versus just this is our forecasting what we'll get this coming year based on current holdings. Don't forget, we'll be getting those distributions, buying more shares, and that helps keep these more consistent. But that's what it's showing that our distribution would be, which is about a 13.48% distribution rate, which is a little bit high. I would not plan on using all of that. If I was to start taking my distributions, I would probably only want to take about 8%, and that's me. You're going to have to make your own decisions. We'll stop here and give the normal speech. This is not financial advice. This is for informational, educational purposes only. Please do your own due diligence and research. Now, looking at this, again, I would probably be comfortable with about an 8% usage and then reinvesting the other 5%, 6% of this distribution. So let's go over here to, this is the weekly tracker. This is kind of the energy. This is the one that brings you the excitement. For those that are income investors, they like seeing these hit their bank account. So if you look over here, these are the dates and the symbol of when distributions were paid to me. So just imagine, and this is how it feels. Like on the 1st, I got $36. On the 3rd, I got $94. On the 4th, I got $156, $276, and $65. So every day I get these notifications on my phone. Dividend was paid. Dividend was paid. And I get to look and see those accumulating and coming into my bank account. In my situation, it just automatically reinvest. And so you can see each week how much was being paid. In December, we had some really nice payments. It started, some of them went down. You have like ULTY is down from where it was a few months back. But we'll see how this is still accumulating and doing well for my income part of my portfolio. And we have SCHD, and anytime you have the quarterly payment of my biggest holding, SCHD, that's a $3,200 payment that really pulls up that month's distributions and income. But you can see for the month, you had $7,655 that was paid that I reinvested into more funds. And down here, we have it broken down per symbol, per fund, how much was received for the month. So up here is each individual payment, when it was given, your weekly amounts, how much you're getting per week. So if I was retired and started taking this partial week here, I have $628 and I have $655. And then a nice paycheck on this week, $3,800. And then right here, Merry Christmas, $2,300. And then a couple funds came in the last couple days there, $145. But for the month, that's a nice, off of $525,000 portfolio, nice paycheck of $7,600. You can see that over here in the cumulative. So those who have been following the channel, you can see here in July on this graph is when I started slowly taking some of my SCHD and putting it into a little bit higher yielding income focus, where before you had January, February, you have these small payments, and then you had your quarterly payment of SCHD. Then you had these small payments in April and May, then this large June payment from SCHD. And again, July, we saw a little bit of increase. Then August, as some of those started hitting and I started continuing to transfer, we went up to $3,000. Then September, we had these additional high income funds like QQQI, SPYI, and we still had quite a bit of SCHD. We had our highest distribution ever at 6103. But then look at this between quarterly payments, October, 5 weeks that month. So there was a lot of these weekly payers that paid 5 times. So you had a really healthy payment there of $5,200. Other than this June, prior to the switchover, it was higher than even the March payment with SCHD. So this is an October payment without SCHD that has those 5 weeks of weekly paying distributions that really catapulted this month's payment up. Now you can see in November where there were not 5 weeks and most funds only paid 4, still a healthy $3,453 for that month. And then December brings us to our highest payment ever because we had all of these weekly, we had the monthlies, and we also had our quarterly SCHD paying in December as we've grown that payment, and you can see that. So we're excited to watch in January. You can kind of peek down here. I have it forecasted what's already been declared for the first couple days of January, and we're already ahead of January, February, April, or May of last year before we started doing those transitions. And we're only talking like 3 days of payments in January, and we've already surpassed that. So you can see how the income has really catapulted as we've continued to do that. So we will have this monthly update throughout 2026 and be excited to see how this continues to trend upward and monitor that. And so that is the portfolio. That is how it's performed. This is the actual payments that were received back here that you were looking at each and every day of the month that we got paid, the amounts that were paid. And that is what we've been doing. I hope you like these updates. What funds are you surprised with? Which ones do you think, oh my God, dude, you need to get out of those? Or, hey, I really like those funds. You want to see more on a particular fund that I have? or you have suggestions on funds that maybe you hold that you've seen some great returns on and you want to see some of the hypotheticals that we do with those, some forecasting or back testing of those, please leave those in the comments below. That really helps us out getting things that you want to see. I appreciate you following along. If you have any questions on this or comments, leave those down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit that like button if you found this helpful. And we'll see you next time on Simply Money.